It's finally here. Hello everybody, this is 99 Korea here, and finally, welcome to Doors. I promised this video back from October of 2022. Time does fly after all, but now we are here in May of 2024. Wow. So, what's going to be in this video of Doors? Well, this video will mostly focus on the first floor, the hotel. So, items you can find, certain events that the hotel will offer, and certain monsters/entities to deal with. But a couple of things I need to go over before we get straight into the guide. Throughout the video, I will use modifiers to up the chances of certain items and/or entities. This is just so I can make this video a lot quicker. Second, I'll be mostly focusing on if you've been playing alone. I will admit, playing this game alone is the perfect way to master the game. Although, I will not stop you from playing with your friends or with randoms. Good luck for those randoms to actually get to the end, as most people die on the first event, or even before that. But of course, to those people who usually die around that, this video is definitely for you. But also the last thing, you're not supposed to watch this unless you already played the game. On the description of the game, it says, we recommend entering without a guide, use each death as a lesson. As you usually die, you get a hint of that entity or thing that you died to, as this game's usually a trial and error type of game. But if you're getting stuck on a certain bit, or that one entity you just want to beat a little easier, well, here's the video for you. But I will put warnings throughout the video to tell you when to stop and play the game for yourself. Well, I've already showed you one of them at the beginning, so please do play this game blind as possible, but I will not stop you from watching this video entirely. Anyway, if you do enjoy this video, please like, comment and subscribe, and I think that should be it. These lights, well, I've been trying to ignore it, but these lights keep flickering and... oh crud. So, when you first join, you join into the lobby, where you can find randos and probably meet up with your friends to go ahead and play Doors. So, if you want to start a game, you got to go through these elevators, which can go up to 1 to 4 players in total. But for some reason, if you have more than 4 players, do not worry. If you go to the bottom right corner, you can create your own elevator, which can go up to 12 players. It's not recommended, but you're probably going to have a blast of a time and you're probably not taking it seriously anyway. As well, this menu shows modifiers, which if you just started you would not see at all until you actually beat the main game. But if you're wondering where modifiers are, this is the menu for it. On the left side of the UI there is the shop, the achievements and the settings. Which the shop, you can be able to buy knobs, which is the in-game currency for this game. As of right now, it's only for the pre-run shop, but will be more important in the future. And if you get a code and want to redeem it, this is where you would do it. Next thing is the achievements. You can go ahead and see what achievements you can get and equip them on your person to show off to your mates and friends and show how much of an egotist you really are, you pathetic loser. But as well, it shows you how good the player is if you're looking for a good team and you don't have any friends. Just like me. And of course the settings, stuff like music and reduced motion on certain intense sections. As well, you can go outside. It's pretty nice to be in the rain sometimes. And of course you definitely get used to it if you live in the British Isles. But once you're done with all that, enter an elevator and then listen to the best elevator music known to man. Welcome to the hotel. We're at door 0. This room is the tutorial area, which is also called the reception. In this room, you can interact with stuff like this bell here. I wonder what theme that was. You can also interact with paintings and find out what they're called. This one's called Favorite Show. It's also spelled wrong. Enough looking at the miscellaneous stuff. Now let's actually somehow get to the next room, which it has a lock. That's not how you actually lock a door, but let's not worry about realism. But also there should be a key somewhere. If we turn to our left, we can see this little prompt here to make us crouch. Also there's another painting here. Monkey. So when we do crouch, which depending on which platform you're on will have a different button to press. Since I'm on PC, I have to press C. With this you can go under things. Also you are a lot more quiet when you move around. Also if you want to uncrouch, just press the button again. But hey, look at that, we are on the other side of the reception desk. Over here we have some drawers which I will recommend opening because they could give you a bit of gold. I'll tell you what gold does later. But also, the main reason why we're here, the number 1 door key. With this we can unlock the door that's stopping us from progressing. But before you do that, ring the bell for good luck. Oh goddammit, I broke it. Go and use the key on the door, and then the game begins. So now, of course, you must have played it already, or even a couple times. Or, for some reason, you've already beaten it and you just want to watch this anyway. That's also fine. So let's go straight into the guide. Your main objective is to get to door 0 all the way to door 100. And of course, do it when you're alive and not dead. So going through these rooms, you can find drawers and closets. Drawers can sometimes have nothing in them, but they can have coins and even items. So it's best to look into drawers whenever possible. And closets you can hide in for a limited amount of time before you get kicked out, but it'll make you invincible to certain entities. And with that time limit, the further you've gone across the hotel, the quicker you get kicked out. Here's some quick examples of door 5 and door 70. And also, when you get kicked out, you cannot go in a span of 10 seconds. So if there's an entity coming to get you, you kinda can't do anything. Oh. But to counter this, you can quickly go in and out and reset the timer of getting kicked out. And of course, stop getting damage from getting kicked out. It does 40 damage, by the way. And of course, you can die while getting kicked out of the closets. It'd be like that sometimes. So that's the main objective and drawers and closets. Now let's go into the main rooms themselves. Every time you start a new run, you will always have different rooms to go through. For example, door 3 will be completely different every single run. And this nearly goes to all the rooms as they're all procedurally generated. But let's go through a couple of them. So most normal ones are just straightaways. Like this room, for example. But sometimes you might run into a room with a lock. Of course, we gotta do what we did back in the reception and find a key. And just to tell you now, the key will be in the room you just opened. So you don't have to backtrack to a couple of rooms before. When you go near it, it will make a certain noise. Here's the noise, by the way. And if you still can't find it, eventually there'll be a blue glow to show you where it is. So those are the normal rooms. Now let's go for the special procedurally generated rooms. Here's one. This is called the dining room. And also there's no door. How can we continue? Well, looking at these paintings there, if we take one off, we can see an outline. We can use those outlines to place each painting that will fit with that outline, and this fireplace will go down, and there's the door to proceed. This is a painting puzzle, by the way. Here's another one, the basement. Well, there's this gate in the way, but there's a door to the side we can use and go down into some sort of wine cellar. Well, in here, we need to find a lever and pull it down to open a gate. But also there's this vent here where we can go in it and go through the other side, and probably the lever will be on the other side. Insert your Among Us joke here. And of course with the gate opened, you can go through the next room. Another room is this hotel room. Well, you can hide under beds, they work exactly like closets. But I will say, this room does look pretty nice. And as well, there's a certain item you can get from this room. I'll tell you later in the guide. Now this room, we go in here, and there's a side door. And then the side door, there's this pretty nice looking room. It's a bit of a mess, but it's a nice looking room. The main reason why I mention this room is this roll-up desk. If you open the roll-up, you'll mostly get a guaranteed item. There's also another room with this roll-up desk, where here's the room itself. That bookshelf fell, by the way. And here's another roll-up desk and another guaranteed item. And of course, when you're done looting, go through this broken glass and into the next room. And now here's the final room I want to mention, the grand hallway. A very long room, but it's very noticeable and I just think it really looks nice. And sometimes I like to call it the judgment hall. So of course, there's procedurally generated rooms. There are also some guaranteed rooms you get through each run, which I will mention, of course, when I go through them, and I want to tell you the numbers right now. So of course, we've already gone through door 0, which is the reception, door 49, door 50, door 51, door 52, door 60, door 61, door 89, door 99, and finally, door 100. That's 10 guaranteed rooms that you're definitely going to keep getting every single run. But that's most of the rooms I want to talk about, and we'll go across guaranteed rooms when we go across them. So let's talk about the multiplayer stuff. Although I'm mostly going to talk about going solo, here's this little section for multiplayer if you got some mates or you want to deal with randoms. So let's explain good players and bad players. Let's go over the good players first. Most good players will already know what to do, but also would like to help newer players to be able to survive with them. They mostly do this by giving them good communication, letting them have the chance to loot instead of rushing ahead, and tell them good, valuable tips to survive for later games. In other words, treating the other survivors as one unit. Even if you all died, at least you died with some dignity, unlike the bad players I'm about to discuss. So let's talk about the bad players. I'm going to be honest. Mostly this multiplayer section is just for these bad players and how to deal with them. So, how do you know what's a bad player? Well, most of them rush ahead without thinking and leaving their teammates to die from falling behind. By the way, if you go far back from the most recent door, you get damaged. Just like this. And of course you can die from this. So in other words, these rushing players kill their own team by going too far ahead. Next, when it comes to looting, when you're just opening a drawer... Really? Yeah. That's the most frustrating. You literally loot a drawer, and they just go over and just take it from you. And of course, I got a perfect name for these people. I call them crude, unappreciative, narrow-minded thieves. Why do they call them this? Well, some of these are completely accurate, but if you take the first letter of each and every single word I just said there, and then try and say the word now, you may understand I'm calling them a bunch of cunts. And every time I see people do this, I root for the entities that murdered them, and let's be real, if you're a bad player, I assume you won't get past one of the first scenarios of the game, or even die to the first entity encounter. As I will say, this always happens when I encounter a bad player. They usually die first, or kill the others, then die. How to not be a bad player? Okay. Don't be selfish, don't rush ahead, you're not a speedrunner, and don't be, the thing I said earlier. Oh, and the last one, don't be lazy. Doing nothing while you carry the entire team isn't really fun. Do pull your own weight, because my back hurts so much from doing it. Thanks. Also, there are some instances where players just leave early. Maybe because they're doing something in real life, or they just left without warning. Or, although it's really funny at times, leave because they got jump scared or hurt. But sometimes it can get frustrating when you're trying to record footage of random folks doing random things. Just mostly little kids playing on mummy's iPad and or dad's PC. So that's mostly the multiplayer stuff I recommend you doing. Although I will put multiplayer tips across the video as well, but that's how you generally play with randoms and your friends. Just don't be selfish, be one unit, and hopefully everyone survives and everyone wins. Because if you do one of the bad player things, I'm rooting for the entities to murder you in cold blood. Right, on to the next section. Alright, before the next major section, I'm going to talk about dying and reviving. Of course, in a horror game, you go bleh. And so, after dying, you mostly get a little tip from the guiding light, or how to not die to insert entity here. And then you got the little menu to leave the game, or continue spectating your other teammates. Also, you get knobs from dying, of course, and depending on how much you got, all depends on how well you've performed, by going through a certain amount of rooms, how much gold you found, and how many friends you brought with you. Mine always says 0 because I have no friends. And just in case you're wondering, knobs are the in-game currency for this game. Also, you can revive if you do die. Of course, with revives, you have to kind of pay for it with 30 Robux, but if you already got revive in stock, you can use one of those and get it for free.
I'm alive!
How to get free revives? You mostly get achievements, and or get UGC items that the Doors creators have made so you can wear on your avatar. By the way, I will do a full video on achievements and how to get them all. Woo. And of course, when you revive, you go right back into the game, and it's not used right away, just in case you died immediately after. But after 20 seconds after reviving, you will finally use to revive, and if you die after, you cannot revive again, as you can only revive once per run. This to stop you from pay to win, and using all your Robux on one run. Also, with reviving, there are certain circumstances that stops you from reviving as well. But I'll tell you when you cannot revive when we get to those sections. So that's dying and reviving. Now on to the next section. Okay, now we're going to talk about the items. I won't talk about all of them, that'll be for a later bit of the video, but I'll mostly be talking about the items you can get from the pre-run shop, and of course the candle. So when you start a new run, after dying at least once, you get the pre-run shop when you're in the beginning elevator, and you got 4 items to choose from. Let's go over them. First, let's go over the lighter. The lighter. Type, light source. Fuel time, 60 seconds. A lighter's fuel cannot be replenished, and the only way to refuel it is to switch it with another lighter with more fuel. It is the most common item throughout the hotel, and it will stop spawning if all players have lighters and above durability over 50%. In the pre-run shop it costs 50 knobs, but I would not recommend buying it because you can easily find it, and there's also the flashlight which costs 3 times as much, but you get a lot more use out of it. So the only time to use the lighter is in dark rooms. Dark rooms I will explain later in the video going over a certain entity, but I recommend you use them only in dark rooms so you know where you're going and to prevent that certain entity from spawning. This goes through all light sources in the game. When the lighter runs out of fuel, it will be removed from your inventory, and you're going to have to hope for the best you can find one. So hopefully you don't lose all durability within a dark room, because you're kind of screwed if you do. Now, the next item, the lockpick. Type, tool. Item per player, 3. The lockpick is a very good item to have for the early game, but becomes more useless the more you go through the hotel. It is fairly common, not as common as the lighter, and you get 2 lockpicks in the pre-run shop. So when to use them? If for some reason you cannot find the key for the room, especially if it's a dark room, you can use a lockpick to get past that door. Also, you can lockpick locked chests, where you can find in side rooms like this. After you use the lockpick, it will be removed from your inventory, and if you have more, it'll just get rid of one of them. So will I recommend buying this in the pre-run shop? Yes, I usually use lockpicks at the beginning of the game, just for the chance of the locked chests, as they can give you good items when you unlock those locked chests, and you get lots of gold from it. And if you're a new player and you're dealing with a dark room and you can't find the key, you can just lockpick it and progress. But you cannot unlock all locks, so keep this in mind. Alright, next item, the vitamins. Type, speed boosting item. Max per player, 3. With the vitamins, you cannot stack them, so you can't run faster. They are just as common as the lockpicks, and it does get you out of bad situations. But I'm going to be real, I barely use these. Not because I think they're useless, it's because I don't really need them most of the time. I only use them for certain things, or I just want to get through a section quickly. But later in the video, I will recommend vitamins in certain situations. Next item on our list, the flashlight. Type, light source. Fuel time, 2 minutes. Ooh boy, the flashlight, one of the best items in the game. It costs 100 nubs in the pre-run shop, and I'll say, that's pretty cheap. And with its high durability, bright light, you can even reuse it if it does run out of fuel by getting batteries, which isn't too common to find. And when you do find a battery, it gives you 60 more seconds to use it. So you don't have to worry about running out of fuel anytime soon. As long as you're looting, of course. I'm making it sound like it's the perfect item. Which, yes it is, but there's only one problem. Finding the flashlight itself is very, very rare. The most rare out of the 5 items I'm talking about. So I would recommend buying it in the pre-run shop, and of course only use it in dark rooms. So that's all the items in the pre-run shop. There's only one more item I want to talk about, which you can only find in the hotel, the candle. The candle. Type, light source / entity detector. Fuel time, 75 seconds. So the candle you cannot buy from the pre-run shop, but you can find it throughout the hotel. The wiki says it's a very rare item, but I always find at least one per run. And of course, if you miss it, you'll have another chance to find it again. And I will not recommend using it at all until a certain section of the hotel, and or it's your last light source you have on hand. So why do I say this? Well, when an entity spawns, the candle light will blow out, signifying that there's an entity nearby or just spawned. And it will relight again if that entity has gone away. And of course, when the candle is blown out, it will not use any of the fuel time. And by the way, if it does run out, it'll be removed from your inventory. So hopefully, you're not in a dark room when it does run out. So that's all 5 of the items I want to go through. Of course, there's 2 more that I will explain later in the video. But when I get past the halfway point, I will explain them. So now, I keep going over these entities. Well, next section, we'll go over the most common entities you'll go through throughout the hotel. Well, here we are. In this section, we'll talk about the most common entities, and there's 4 of them. Let's go over each and every single one in grave detail. Woohoo! So let's go over the first one, and the most common. So who's that? He is the first entity you will face before anyone else. Mostly. And is the main reason why you got your first death. He separates the noobs from the novices. He's quick. He's simple. He's Rush. When you enter a new room, there's a chance that the lights will flicker, and if they do, that means Rush is coming. He's what? And if you don't do anything about it, well, that will be jump scare and death for you. So, what do? Well, you can use a closet and or bed to hide, and you stay in there until Rush passes by and opens the next room for you. Also, when Rush goes by, he will shatter all the lights, and making the room he just gone past into a dark room. So best not to hang around in the room you're hiding for long. Also, I recommend you don't immediately hide when the lights flicker. I say this because earlier when we talked about closets and beds, the further you go along, the quicker you get kicked out. So I'd recommend you wait a bit before going in. As of course, you don't want to get kicked out and then Rush is right in front of you. And you know what that means. And that's mostly it. There's also entity dodging, which is not hiding in a closet or bed at all, but that's more advanced, and this is more of a beginner guide than an advanced one. But if you want some quick examples, most of the side rooms will get you that entity dodge. You'll also get an achievement when you do this, and that's all what Rush has to offer. It is simple as it gets, and most other entities acts like him as well. Now on to the next entity. So, I keep mentioning before about these dark rooms. So here's the section where I explain them. When you go in a new room, there's a chance that it will be completely dark. It also plays this sound when you do open the door, to signify that it is a dark room. This is where your light source items come into play. So normally dark rooms are just normal rooms, but dark. Shocking, I know. And I'll recommend you try and get into the next room immediately. Why? Because of this guy. Whoa! Say hello to Screech. He's actually my favorite out of them all. So, when you're in a dark room, there is a chance that Screech will attack. You'll know he's spawned because he has a specific sound. When you hear that, I recommend you turn around and try and find Screech quickly as possible. As if you don't... yeah, that happened. It does 40 damage, by the way. How do you stop this? Look at him. Oh, he's gone. Nice. Yeah, that's how you stop Screech from attacking you. But he's fairly common in the dark rooms. And I mean fairly common. But you can reduce his spawn if you use one of the light sources. Lighter, candle, and the flashlight. But he can still spawn. So don't think you're instantly safe because you got a light source. As well, if you're playing on multiplayer, Screech can only spawn for one player at a time. And only you can see him. So the other players cannot help. But if you know someone's dealing with Screech, you are safe for now. Even if you go into the next room and it's a light room, Screech can still get you. And when you go to that new room, quickly check around your character to check if Screech hasn't spawned. Oh. So that's mostly Screech, but I'm going to quickly talk more about the dark rooms themselves. If you are having a hard time trying to find where to go, somewhere after 20 seconds till 70 seconds passes in a dark room, the doors will be highlighted and also the key if you are in a locked room. And if so, unlucky. But you can make a light room into a dark room if you stay in the same room for over 15 minutes. And if you're still AFK, well, let's say Screech will have a nice meal. So that's the dark room and Screech. Now on to the next entity. So that was my favorite entity. Now my least favorite. Okay, this one's quick. Say hello to Eyes. When you open a new room, there is a chance that Eyes will spawn. Eyes has a distinct glow and sound, so you know where he is. And if you look at him, you take damage. 10 damage every tick. So if you look at him for like over 5 seconds, you're mostly going to die. And also in the most recent update, at the time of this recording, Eyes jumps out a jump scare. So how do you get rid of him? Go into the next room. Well, that was easy. Of course you got to look away and hope for the best you can find that door. But if you're in a dark room, you can use Eyes' glow to see where to go. But as you can see, Eyes isn't very difficult. So why is it my least favourite? Sometimes when you open the door, it lags a bit, and then Eyes instantly hits you a couple of times. Or spawns right in front of you and you instantly take damage. Although Eyes hasn't killed me much, it's not fun opening a door and instantly get hit where I couldn't predict it, nor do anything. But hey, it could be worse. He's always stationary and doesn't move around. And it would have been more annoying if he moved around and tried to force you to look at him. But let's not give L-Splash any ideas.
Eyes, you fucking suck! Ah!
And now we got one more to go. And oh, there's 2 doors. Well, this one has the higher number, so let's go in. Well, that wasn't very nice. Well, say hello to Duke. When entering a new room, there is a chance that you might see 2 rooms with numbers on them. Now you need to pick which door is the correct one, as if you do pick the wrong one, you take 40 damage. And of course, get jump scared. Well, there's 2 ways. First, look at the number of the door that you just came in. For example, room 24. One door says 24, another says 25, and the last one say 26. So which one's the correct one? If you say door 25, you are correct. And yes, dupe can spawn multiple times per room. Also, if it's a locked room, If you try and walk in, it won't jump scare you, but the second you put the key in there, jump scare. But what if you don't know? Well, you can just look at the door that you just came in and it's scribbled out. But okay, it's a locked room. We can go ahead and use the key, right? No, that's also scribbled out. So is it a guessing game now? Well, no. There is the second way. So go up to the door, don't open it, and go on the side wall here, and listen for a sound of growling. If you hear this growling, that means dupe is behind the door, so don't open it. So that's how you counter dupe. But also, you can encounter him in the dark rooms. In the early rooms, dupe just doesn't attack you, and the numbers will fall off. But in later rooms, they won't do that, and his growling will be a lot louder. This is the same with locked rooms when it's dark, and that's all dupe has to offer. And now, let's go into one of the main events of the hotel. I'm gonna... He can still attack you without the key. Gotcha. Wish I knew that. Now I know. Before the halfway point, we got one major event to go through. And if you played the game, you know exactly what I'm talking about. As early as door 26, the lights will flicker and these eyes will spawn. Not the entity, these eye things on the wall. All they do is make a noise and look at you. And sometimes you can find these paintings, or they're not paintings. They look nice though, so the game's wrong here. The more rooms you've gone through, the more eye things will start spawning. But also you are not safe from Rush, Eyes, Screech, Dupe, or the other entities I haven't gone through yet, as you're going through these rooms. Of course the flickering comes more apparent, and then eventually you see the grand hallway, and no more flickering and or eyes. Your candle also goes out. You go to the end of the hallway and here he is, Seek. Now you got to run, and run fast, and alone. As if you're in multiplayer, all the other players will be invisible, although you can hold an item and show where you're going. So if you're helping new players on where to go, hold an item and show them the way. Now onto the chase itself. There are only two rooms that you have to worry about, the straightaway and the octagon room. There's also one more room, but that's at the end. Let's talk about the straightaway. When going through it, a bunch of furniture blocks your way, and you've got to use the light blue light to show where to go. Of course you need to crouch, and it does slow you down. And of course slowing down is bad, as if Seek gets you. By the way, if you do die and you want to revive, you got to wait until the chase ends, then you can revive. Back to the straightaway. Just crouch under these bookshelves, and then you got the next room, which is the octagon room. It has 8 fantastic sides and 8 awesome angles. Come on, you know how to reference that. Okay, so this is where it gets a little difficult for new players, but I'm here to help. In the octagon room, there are 3 doors. The left, right, and middle, and or back. One of these rooms are the correct one to progress and not to get killed by Seek. And the other 2, well, you just can't go through, wasting your time and making Seek easier to get you. So I've got a strategy every time you go through one of these rooms. You look in one direction. Is that door glowing blue and has a number on it? Then go straight for it. If it isn't, quickly look in the other direction, and if that's glowing blue and has a number on it, go through it. But if it doesn't, go to it and go around the furniture stuff and straight to the back, as that should be the correct room with the blue glow and numbers on the door. And that's how you get through those 2 rooms effectively. Of course you can get the same room 2 times in a row, and this goes to 5 rooms, and then there's one more room, which is the final hallway, where it's the grand hallway with chandeliers falling, creating a fire, and these black hands trying to grab you. The chandeliers do 45 damage if you run across them, and there's 3 in total, so running in all 3 does kill you. And the black hands, if they get you, that's it, you're dead. Also a free trip to Brazil as well. But all you got to do is go left, right, and left again, and through the last door where the song is about to end. But if you're going to be cheeky and go right back in, you can still die. And that's what Seek has to offer. And to make it easier for yourself, you can use the vitamins to go a lot quicker. Also, you can use the reduce motion thing on the settings to make your camera not go all over the place. But after that, it's mostly smooth sailing until door 49. How is that not a painting? After the seek chase and any other extra rooms you have to go through, there is door 49. And now we're at the halfway point, so congratulations for you getting this far, as most people can't even get here. But, can you hear that? Behind door 50 doesn't seem too friendly. But let's talk about this room. This room is a guaranteed room, and we've got this fancy desk here, which you could get some gold as well. Also, there's a funny planet here that goes spin. But this is what the room has to offer, and it's time to enter the library. Say hello to Figure. The main bad boy of the hotel, and the library is his home turf. So, let's figure how this guy works. Kill me. Figure does not have any eyes, so that means he cannot see, but he used sounds and vibrations to try and find you. So you gotta keep quiet and stay away from him, as if you get caught by him, you get your head chopped off. So, how do you stop this from happening? Remember back in the reception when I said crouching makes you more quieter? Yeah, this is the part where you have to be quiet. So it's better to keep crouching through the entire time of the library. But you can stand up if you and Figure are on opposite sides of the room, or Figure is getting you and you need to hide into a closet. Talking about closets, there's a couple of them in the library. If you're in the situation where Figure is coming after you, you can really hide in the closet and do a little heartbeat minigame. The heartbeat minigame is like a rhythm game where you gotta get these half a hearts and then time it with the middle heart. Of course, if you're on PC, you can use right click and left click, or even Q and E. And if you're any other console, I can't really help you. But with this heartbeat minigame, you can only make one mistake, and if you make a second... But remember, when the heartbeat minigame ends, you still have to wait until Figure walks away. And just in case you're wondering, in the library, you cannot get kicked out of a closet, so you can hide there all you want, if you're worse. But now, let's quickly go over Figure's pattern. So you see the desk here, that's where he mostly spawns when you just got in the library, and he'll go up to the top right corner and keep going back to that desk. Sometimes he does deviate by going across these bookshelves here and also here, but he will eventually turn back to the top right corner and the desk, and that's if you don't make a noise. Oh, by the way, if you try and use the barricade and the upstairs area to get Figure stuck, it ain't gonna work. You can climb over it. It used to work in the old updates, but in this new update, he can just climb over it. It has caught people off guard, and I do laugh sometimes when I see that happen. So it must be so simple. All you have to do is just avoid this Figure guy and go straight to the next door. Oh, it's locked, and you need a number code. And also, I see these books that's a bit out, so I picked them up and it has a shape and a number on it. What could this mean? Okay, let's actually figure out this code. I mean, come on, it's not going to be that easy now, is it? First of all, if we go to the desk where Figure goes, there's a piece of paper that tells you how to unlock the combination lock. At the top, it says the little poke out books that can glow if you take too long, has a shape and a number on it. By the way, you don't have to worry about memorizing them, as they will appear over here. Also, if you're in multiplayer, you will get an icon to say which person has picked it up. And if it's blank, that means you've picked it up. And just to say now, there are 8 books in total that you need to pick up. So now the next thing is this shape with Roman numerals on it. If you don't know what Roman numerals are, first of all, have you been to school? And second of all, I'll just help you anyway. From left to right is 1 to 5. I even edited to say, hey, these are the numbers. And at the bottom, the padlock, left to right, just do it in that order. Okay, simple. And also the padlock goes left to right as well. So now we gotta find those books. And of course, they'll be on the bookshelves. Some of them are very easy areas to pick them up. and some of them are kind of dangerous. There's also this one that's extremely dangerous, I will admit, but of course you gotta take your time. And also with the code, you need to pick up all 8 books to get the full-on code, as the 8th book is always the 5th number. Although you can just pick up 7 and then guess the last number, but it's better to get the last book. But also, the more books you pick up, the faster Figure will be. And Figure goes fast, and I mean fast. But also, Figure does very interesting things, like getting stuck on walls and bookshelves. Don't believe me? Just watch this little bit here. Yeah, Figure, he's not very intelligent. But as well, I hope he gets fixed. But also, it's kind of terrifying that he's so unpredictable, especially when he's fast. But now, go back to that code with all 8 books on hand, and Figure going Mark 7 and bumping into walls and bookshelves in the process, and getting stuck like an idiot. You can now do the code, and actually something I nearly forgot about the library, is when doing the code, you can say it in chat, and you can be able to memorize. Really? Or it can get censored. Why not just put dots in between? Oh, that also censors it as well. Okay, I've done the puzzle. Let me try and say it now. Oh, typical. And also for PC players, usually a lot of people keep pressing left click to get to, let's say, 9, where you can just press right click once to go 9, 8, 7, and onwards. Just a bit of help there. And unlock the padlock and escape. And some quick tips for multiplayer. While getting all the books, you can have one guy go near a closet and distract Figure, where the rest can pick up books and get the code. And also, when you're about to unlock the lock, wait until everyone's at the door before leaving, as when you open that door, and you didn't go through it yet, it will close, and Figure will go straight towards you, and you know what's gonna happen. I will admit, this happened a couple times, and I just want to say it right now, you're a person that leaves people behind. Anyway, that's the library and Figure, and the rest is silence. Let me guess. Oh, that's just fine, ain't it? Oh, come on. I hate this. After the library, you got 51, which is just a straight away. And then at door 52, we got a shop. Jeff's shop, and we can finally use the gold coins to buy items. As well, we got 2 new items I haven't discussed yet. I'll do it after this section. But first, let me go through the 3 entities in this room. First of all, we have our main man, Jeff. His full name is Jeff Volomir von Tentacle, so he's German. Fair enough, have a dip. So he's the shopkeeper of this room, and he sells some very valuable items, like all the pre-run shop items, and the crucifix, and the skeleton key. He also has this radio, which you can't really turn off no matter how hard you try. Yes, even if you turn down the game music, but it's a banger, so why? And also you can tip by going to this jar, and Jeff will be very happy. Remember to do this, because it will give you good luck. Well, it doesn't actually give you good luck, it's just morally correct. So that's the end of Jeff. Now this red guy, and his full name is... yeah, I'm not saying that. But he's formerly known as El Goblino, which translates to the Goblin. He is one of the entities that talks to you. He mostly talks in English and Latin Spanish, or even both in the same sentence, about his adventures, and as well his friend, Bob. And if you're wondering, while going around the hotel, you hear drawers opening, door knocking, and even some fake outs of Rush and Screech. Yeah, that's El Goblino running around, looking for gold so we can pay Jeff to get some food. And now we have the last one, Bob. He's just sitting there, and if we hold E... oh, nothing happens. Yeah, Bob is just sitting there, and he doesn't really do anything, although it is funny that El Goblino is somewhat taking the piss, and saying that Bob has been frightened by something, or try to fight Rush. But even El Goblino does have some nice dialogue, but does give you hints on certain things. And back to Bob. His full name is Bob Skelly Friend. Nice. And as well, when you leave the shop, or leave a couple of rooms after the shop, there's a guarantee that Rush will go past, and if you go back, the shop is closed, and El Goblino's hiding, and Bob just chilling. And that's all that the Jeff shop has to offer. Now, let's talk about that crucifix. So, do you hate a certain entity with a burning passion? Rush keeps flickering those lights. Screech keeps biting your face off. Eyes keeps taking your eyes for his own. And Dupe headbutting you for picking the wrong door. Well, I've got the item for you. Say hello to the item, the crucifix. Type tool, item per player, 1. The crucifix's main use is to stop entities from attacking you and surviving a deadly blow. This includes things that doesn't instant kill you, for example Duke's attack and Screech's bite. It costs 500 coins in Jeff's shop, and is the most expensive item in Jeff's shop. It can banish nearly all entities in the hotel, so of course the first 4 entities I talked over, but it cannot banish, figure, or seek. And even if you do banish them, they could attack again later in another room, and I recommend using it only for 2 entities that I haven't gone over yet. I'm making it sound like it's a bad item, but no, it isn't. It can really save the run, and save the other players if they're in a bad spot. And also you do get achievements for banishing nearly all the entities, even seek and figure. But all I can say with the crucifix, don't use it on something that clearly isn't a threat, like eyes or Rush with lots of closets all around. But I will admit, it's very satisfying when you do banish them. So that's mostly the crucifix. A good item if you use it responsibly. And also, remember earlier in the video, I said this hotel room has a certain item that can spawn? Yeah, this is where the crucifix can spawn. It's extremely rare, and to the point I thought it was removed from the game. Guess not anymore. And now let me quickly go over the skeleton key. Skeleton key. Type, key. Item per player, 1. There's more chance of you getting the skeleton key through Jeff's shop than anywhere else. And if you do get it from anywhere else, you're very lucky. It has 2 uses, unlocking normal locks and unlocking skeleton doors. In the hotel, as of now, there are only 2 skeleton doors to unlock. But if you're just completing the hotel, only focus on one of them, and that will be the one in the infirmary, which we'll go over when we get there. And the other one will be for the next doors video. And that's mostly it for the skeleton key, as the main thing behind those skeleton doors is the thing you want that skeleton key for. But yeah, that's the last 2 items I'll go over in this video. So now, let's go to the second half of the hotel. Eyes off, bitch. Oh no. So now, after the library, and after Jeff's shop, the second half. So within the second half, entities will be spawning more often, and a little bit more difficult. For example, Screech spawning a lot more, if you don't have a light source, and Duke finally attacking in the dark rooms. But the most noticeable thing is these ruined rooms. Although you can still get the standard rooms back before door 50, you can get these ruined rooms with broken pillars, furniture everywhere, broken walls, and boarded up windows. And also the most noticeable, these meat piles with flies on them. So, I wonder if the community will figure out who's been around these rooms. Yes, that pun was intended. But yeah, these rooms aren't really super special. Sometimes you do need to duck under some furniture to get past some of these rooms. But the next major thing is at door 60. Door 60 is a guaranteed room with a noticeable hole in this wall here behind a closet. Although I'd like to explore that area, but we should do that in the next doors video. But if you continue on, we got door 61. another guaranteed room. This guaranteed room is a dark room with a gate in the way. Remember the basement room? Now imagine a larger version of that in the dark. And also, there's a left area and a right area. If you have two people, you can have one person go one side and another goes in the other. As we've got a gate to go through, we need to find a lever, and so we can be able to progress into door 62 and onwards. But as well, it's not so simple. It is the large basement after all. And since it's dark, you're going to have to deal with the best boy. But surprisingly with Screech, for this room in particular, he doesn't spawn as often. It's actually hard-coded into the game as well, just to make it less annoying. But again, if you take too long, the little doors you go through, and of course the lever itself, will glow light blue, thanks to the guiding light, and you'll be able to progress.
And now you attack me. Now you attack me.
Also, if you happen to have a basement ahead, it will open that gate as well. That's also pretty funny, but probably that's going to be patched.
Huh, that's nice. Very nice of you, game. Okay, fair enough.
Alright, now on to the next guaranteed room, the infirmary. The infirmary is a guaranteed room, but there's no number to associate it. So what makes this room so special? The skeleton door. If you have the skeleton key and didn't use it on the other skeleton door, you can use the skeleton key to open it, and when we do, in the drawers there's lots of gold, so good on ya. Even though you don't need it anymore, but good on ya. And we got the main attraction of this room, this plant. This plant is called the Herb of Viridis, or just call it the green herb. If you hold E and take it, your heartbeat grows stronger. What does this mean? If you've been damaged at any point, every single second, you'll heal by 1 HP. In other words, we got health regeneration, so we don't need to look for those plaster things anymore. Oh yeah, I didn't really mention the plasters. Yeah, they just heal you. And they only spawn if you're hurt. But if a player is full and looking in drawers, it will not spawn. So back to the herb of whatever. This health regeneration stays until you die or beat the game. And before you ask, if you do die and then revive, you will not get the effect back. So that's the herb and the infirmary room. So what's next? Oh, seek again? Yeah, you get 2 seek chases every run. And what's different between this one is you get more of the split path rooms more than the straightaways. I will admit it's a lot easier than the first chase. Let's go back to when I gone over seek. But while that's happening, I'm gonna go through some miscellaneous entities for a bit before we go into the main and final 2 entities. So let's go through them.
Oh wow, I got this twice. Amazing.
So now, some miscellaneous entities to go through. Let's go!
That little shish, he didn't even...
Did you like that jump scare? I didn't. Say hello to Timothy. Timothy is Looter's worst nightmare.
Yeah!
Timothy has a 1 in 200 chance, 0.5%, to appear in any drawer or loot chest. When you do find Timothy, Timothy will jump on your face, do a bit of damage, and then go away. When you actually do get hit by Timothy, it does 10 damage. But also, if your health is below 10, it goes below to 5 to 0. So Timothy is not supposed to kill you, unless you got some modifiers. Then she can. And that's mostly it. Yeah, that's the end of Timothy. On to the next miscellaneous entity. Ooga booga. Jack is here. Say hello to Jack. Jack is also only made to scare the player. Nothing else. How does he spawn? He can spawn in closets and even behind numbered doors. The closet has a 1 in 200 chance, and behind a room is 1 in 2000. When you do get Jack in a closet, it just flickers the lights and nothing more. Even Rush doesn't try and get you. But if you get Jack behind a room, it will make it into a blood room. What does the blood room do? Not much. Just makes it very red. And I will admit, I prefer the look of this style of the hotel rather than the actual one. And no, it's not because red is my favorite color, because it isn't. But yeah, that's Jack. Just supposed to scare you. do not also is just supposed to scare you and to throw you off? Say hello to Shadow. Same thing with Jack, but without the closet thing. Ridiculously rare, of being 1 in 2,000 chance of appearing behind a numbered door, and you can't really do much with Shadow. It's just surprise, jump scare, and that's it. That's Shadow. On to the next one. And say hello to Glitch. Glitch is actually a failsafe. So if the rooms don't generate properly or something went wrong, Glitch will jump scare you and put you on the right path. But again, Glitch is incredibly rare because as of recently, there hasn't been many failsafe things I've found while in this new update. That's actually a good thing, but that means I gotta use other people's footage. Not like I've done that already, knowing how ridiculously rare these entities are that I talked about in this section. Not counting Timothy, because I always get Timothy. But yeah, Glitch is a failsafe, so if you get Glitch, something bugged up and has been fixed. And you can continue. Now we've got one more. So, getting this miscellaneous entity, we need to go all the way back to the reception. And we need to look at this clock and wait for it until it goes to midnight. That is about an hour. Yes, I've spent an entire hour waiting in the reception for this one entity. And when it turns midnight, continue the game as normal and go to door 13. And I'll let the footage speak for itself. So who is that? That is Dread. He appears when an hour has gone and you haven't opened door 13. And so when you do meet him, is there a way to stop him from killing you? Yes, 2 ways. Opening door 14 will get rid of him, and getting a crucifix and banishing him. And that's the end of Dread.
Thankfully.
And hopefully it's alright to use footage of other people getting these minor entities. I mean, hey, I did Dread, so... And this video is taking a lot longer to make than it should be. But enough excuses and the miscellaneous entities. After Seek 2, in between Seek 2 and Door 89, there's a possibility to get 2 certain entities. And you can get one or the other. Let's go over them, shall we? So, we've got 2 more entities to go through before the last area. Let's go. Oh, it's Rush. But I don't hear him though. As well, it did flicker a lot more than usual. Well, how about we just go through the next door? Say hello to Holt, one of the more difficult entities to go through. First of all, that flickering, if it's a lot longer than usual, that means Holt will attack in the next room. When you do open the next door, you get a nice invitation to Holt's hallway. Holt's hallway is just a straightaway that is very, very long. Yep, that's what I said. And of course you got to get to the end of the other side to escape Holt. But of course, it's not that easy. Holt can just teleport right in front of you and ambush you. Of course he does a little tell, which is this screen here. When that happens, turn around and keep moving forward. You have to keep doing this until you escape or die. And if you do get hit by Holt, he does 60 damage. So that means 2 hits in total, and then it's game over. My best advice is to not panic and pay attention. Although the little ambience that he plays is incredibly loud and very concerning, and even you don't need to turn around when he does appear in front of you. You can just walk backwards. It's what I usually do. But sometimes if you're too slow, you might get hit, so be warned. And just in case you're wondering, if you try and go to the sides, it will not work. It used to work, but not anymore. And of course what still works is the vitamins, as the vitamins make Holt a joke. And just in case you're having a really hard time, just use the crucifix and you can get rid of them. And if you're playing in multiplayer, you won't be able to see other players, so you'll be in Holt's hallway alone. So that's Holt. If you don't know what you're doing and panic, you can die pretty quickly. But if you do know what you're doing and you're focusing, he's not too hard. So if you're having a hard time, don't worry, a lot of people do. So that's Holt. Now on to the other one. So that's Holt. Now on the other one. Say hello to Ambush, the hardest entity in my opinion, and the entity that likes to halt your progress. See what I did there? Ambush is very similar to Rush, but acts a little different. Instead of going straight through, it backtracks and try again, and he will keep doing this to 2 to 6 times. But again, you can just hide in the same closet without getting out, right? Well, looks like you forgot something. Yeah, you can't hide for long, especially around the 80 doors. Unless you got him really early, which is possible, but very rare. And a lot easier, he doesn't backtrack as much if you get him early. But back on hiding with Ambush, when you pass by and backtrack, get out of the closet to reset hide, and then when you can hear him getting louder, hide again, let him go past, and keep doing it until he goes away. You would know if he slowly fade out or he hasn't attacked over 20 seconds. It all depends on which rooms you've gone through before encountering Ambush. As well, it shows how difficult Ambush could be. If you had a bunch of small rooms, Ambush would be a lot more difficult. But if you had at least one grand hallway, it's a lot easier. Also, it is possible to entity dodge Ambush. Some safe spots could work on Rush, but not Ambush. As when Ambush sees you, yep, instant death. Same as Rush, but a lot quicker. And when you do die, you gotta wait until Ambush despawns before reviving. So with all of that, if you got one entity you really want to banish to beat the game, Ambush is the guy. Especially when you're near the end. And that's all there is to it. Ambush is a more difficult Rush, but once you know how to counter Ambush, you're mostly safe until the last 10 rooms. But before we go through those last 10 rooms, there's door 89. Oh, I shouldn't have scoffed. Okay. If you get here, pat yourself on the back because you've done very well. And so your award is door 89, aka the Courtyard. And now in the Courtyard you can finally touch grass. You should probably do that when you finish this video. It has been an hour long. But in this room, again, trees, touching grass, and also the rain that us Brits and Irish love so much. The hotel experience isn't over yet, as we got 10 more rooms to go through. After if you've gone past this room, you won't be able to revive anymore. And the last 10 doors will be a skill check on how much you've learned. So, if for some reason you still haven't played doors yet, this is your final warning before I spoil the last area. Okay, hello. This area is going to get completely revamped in the next update, so enjoy before the Floor 2 update appears. Welcome to the greenhouse. All of the greenhouse rooms will be dark, so you definitely know who's appearing. Oh my god. And in these rooms, we got 4 entities to worry about. You've already saw one. There's Eyes, Rush, and... oh, ow. I got stuck. So what happened? Well, this thing is called Snare, also an entity, and can only spawn in the greenhouse, unless modifiers say otherwise. All it does is damage you a bit and stun you, leaving a perfect opportunity to rush to get you. And you might be wondering, what about Screech? For some reason, Screech just despawns when you get attacked by Snare. Don't ask me, ask Elsplash. But yes, Snare is just to damage you and stun you. Also, if you're wondering, you cannot die from snare alone. As you can clearly see, I'm on 1 HP, and I stepped on it and no damage. But hey, it's the perfect opportunity for eyes to attack. But remember, you can just use eyes glow to locate where the snares are. And of course, any of your light sources. As well, the greenhouse rooms, there's only 2 types. Straight away and L-shaped rooms. Pretty self-explanatory. And of course, in each room will have 4 closets in them. And they will be at the edges of the room, so keep an eye out. But a heads up, there should be 2 closets at least near the door. Either to your left before opening the next door, or when you open the next door, to your right. There should be 2 closets. But enough about closets and entities. How are we going to make it easier for ourselves in the greenhouse? Well, I've got 3 strategies for you. 1, the candle. If you kept the candle up until now, good job, because this is the room where it's actually very useful. As with Rush, there's no lights to flicker. You gotta keep an ear out. So with the candle going out when Rush spawns, there's a massive warning to say, hey, Rush is coming. But if you do not have a candle, I recommend after opening a door, go straight to a closet and wait somewhere around 20 seconds. If you don't hear Rush, continue on to the next room. And repeat this until you get to door 99, and that means you've completed the greenhouse. Strategy number 2, no light sources. So yeah, you're not entirely done if you have no light sources. So what's my strategy? Yeah, this. Slowly keep moving forward until you get to the next room, and keep repeating that until you escape, of course. And of course try and find some closets before entering the next room. But I recommend using this as a last resort if you happen to lose all your light sources. But now my favourite strategy, the vitamin strat. So imagine this, you take some vitamins, sprint towards next doors again and again and again until it runs out, and then wait next to a closet and let the rushes go through if there happen to be multiple. Also, I'd recommend you get a torch and run while you have a speed boost so you don't fall into any snares. And then keep doing it until you get to door 99 and make the greenhouse look very easy. Too easy. Which, after you understand how it works, it is pretty easy. You just gotta listen out to Rush and know where the hiding spots are. And of course not just run ahead without thinking. Cough cough, new players. As long as you play carefully and slowly, you'll get there just fine. And now we're at door 99, and at door 100, the scenery changed a lot, yet again. Uh-oh. Excuse me? Fine, doors, if you want to be like that. I won't die. Door 100. We are finally here. Welcome to the electrical room, the final area of the hotel. And then in here we got still more closets, and also this wire here next to this flammable liquid. Thankfully, this wire is not on, either we're gonna have a big problem. But past it, we can see a lever that's glowing blue, and of course, an exit sign. If we go over here as well, we can see there's a door which we need a key for. By the way, you can use a lockpick, or if you're stupid, a skeleton key to unlock the door. With that all out of the way, let's pull the lever. Oh, this guy again? Well, it knows we're here, we need to run. And keep running until he loses us, or hide in a closet. As well, the gates rise, so you can have more escape options. By the way, when you hide in a closet, you do have to do the heartbeat minigame. But you can run into these rooms here. But the music will calm down if you got away, and we should probably go back to where we pulled the lever. If we luckily go back, without getting caught by Figure, if we go upstairs, and follow the exit signs, we can find an elevator, which sadly, it isn't powered. We would know if it was powered if these lights were on. But so, how do we power it? First, grab this key and go down to this room here. Do remember to be crouched due to Figure, as Figure can sense you all the way from here. But if we unlock this door with the key and or lockpick or skeleton key, we got this panel over here. If we open it, yeah, it's time to do door 50 again. But instead of books, we need to find breaker switches. So, where are they? Well, they're over here, where Figure is patrolling. So in this area, there's 3 little rooms and a bunch of hallways where Figure patrols. This is where you're going to find most of the breaker switches, and you'll definitely know a breaker switch will be nearby if you hear the little sparkly sounds back from where the key and or books used to make. And again, if you take too long, they will glow light blue thanks to the guiding light. And if you're wondering, Figure will almost never go in these small rooms unless you aggravate him, and he will go in and you're probably dead at that point. When trying to avoid Figure, it's best to use your ears rather than your eyes, which his massive stomps will signify where he is. Also, the ceiling lights will also help you illuminate through the dark, even though they do like to go on and off here and there. As well, one more thing with Figure, every time he does a growl, he will do a 180 and start patrolling in the opposite direction. He also does this in the library. I just forgot to tell you. Enough about Figure. These small rooms here, there's 3 in total, and in there is where you're going to find most of your breaker switches. But also, some breaker switches might be in the hallway where Figure is patrolling, so you're going to have to be a bit risky. But also, it's best to take your time, as you don't really get punished in this room if you take too long. But once you checked all 3 rooms and all the hallways, you can go straight for the electrical panel again and put all the breaker switches in. Oh, typical. I'm missing 1. But before we find that last one, if you go back to where that lever was, and instead of going upstairs, go downstairs, there is a rift. And what can you do with this rift? Well, you can put an item in there, and if you want to start a new run, that item will be inside there and ready to be used for your next run. But most people use it as a type of trophy cabinet. You'll understand why in the next video. But that's the rift. If we go back to where that lever was and go upstairs, you can also find breaker switches in this room here, where we found the key from earlier. So if you haven't got all 10 and you checked all the 3 little rooms where Figure is patrolling, high chance it'll be up here. Also, for a quick multiplayer tip, if you have one guy going around getting the breaker switches and one guy staying at the panel putting the breaker switches in, once you get all 10 and put them inside the breaker switch, that little puddle of flammable liquid from earlier ignites, Figure does the yonky sploinky and gets out the window. It's a pretty funny cutscene, by the way. And now we've got one more puzzle to go through. Welcome to the breaker puzzle. Just a heads up, take your time, you're not in a rush. So how this works is there are 10 switches in total that can be turned on or off, and at the top screen above it will say a number and a box. If the number has the box that isn't filled in, you should leave it alone, but if it is filled in, you click the switch and turn it on. And this goes through all 10 numbers in a random order. Once it goes through all the numbers once, this bar will fill up, and if it fills up all the way, that means you have done the stage that you're on. If the bar did not go all the way, it will start again, but it will go in a different order. But the solution is still the same. This goes through all stages. For example, stage 1 is slow, so you can easily understand the puzzle. Stage 2 does it a little bit faster, and also will have a different code. But with stage 3, it'll be a lot more difficult. First of all, it goes really fast, so you got to pay attention. But also, the last number will be hidden. So, I'm here to help with that hidden number. You've got to do some maths. I'm kidding. It will be the last number that did not show up. So the best way to do this, if you count it out loud, and you didn't say a certain number, flick that on or off. But if you do miss it, of course it'll do the order in a different way, but always the last number will be hidden. But take your time, and when you get that third bar full, the elevator powers on, and it is time to run. This part's easy. Just go up to the elevator. Figure will not catch up very well, but if you do get caught, you will die, and you have to do that entire run again. And when you get to the elevator, you have finally beaten the hotel. After that cutscene plays, you get your reward of knobs, which at minimum you get 150 for beating the hotel, and all the gold coins you also get extra knobs, and that's how you beat the hotel. It's done. It's finally done. After 4 months in development, hopefully it'll be worth the wait. Or should I say 2 years. So you might be wondering, why did it take so long for this video to come out? Well, mostly because of updates and real life things, but also Doors updating and changing some of the entities. And due to this, I had to reset twice. Luckily enough, I only have 7 days remaining until the new update, which I won't be going into immediately, as I kind of want to finish Roblox Adventure 3 Let's Play. But what I might do is I might actually have a blind playthrough of Floor 2. And also in the future, I will not have a video this long ever again. Originally, I thought this video would go up to 45 minutes. Not an hour and 15 or longer. So if I'm planning on doing the hotel again, I'm probably going to split it into different parts. Which I was thinking of putting a poll up, decide should I split it in half or not, but I decided not to. As people I talk to say long form videos are better than short form, but it just depends on the person you are. But in future, I'll try and limit myself to 45 minutes. Also, the editing hasn't been fantastic, but I think it's good enough for what it is. As I'm not really much of a big fan of flashy editing anyway, because you're not here to have a seizure, you're here to actually learn and play the game. And of course, get good. But I think it's good enough. And just to say, if you watch the entire video without stopping, thank you so much. It means someone enjoyed my content, and I can't wait to provide a lot more, as I probably need to get back into the YouTube spirit again, while having real life stuff be in the way. But yes, the next couple of videos are probably going to be Roblox Adventure 3 and finishing that Let's Play off, and then probably do a blind playthrough of Floor 2, and then we'll see where we go from there. But now, this is going to be the end of the video. Thank you for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe with that notification bell on. And bye. Have a great time.